Well, I was going to spend today talking about the reversal of what little troop drawdown Trump was Trump had actually accomplished in the Middle East. One of the great failures of the Trump administration was not completely excising the U.S. from the Middle East, and unfortunately, a lot of that had to do with appeasing Israel and Saudi Arabia. But nevertheless, Trump did have some accomplishments with getting troops out of the Middle East. There were less troops on Iraq and decreasing. Most of the troops were out of Syria, which was an illegal war to begin with. Al-Qaeda had been defunded in Syria. And now, in the words of Joe Biden, just as U.S. troops are re-entering northeast Syria, also known as Rojava, which is sort of the multi-ethnic breakaway confederation, let's say, America is back. More troops to Iraq, more troops to Syria, more troops everywhere, it would seem. But today, I think that there's certainly as far as the media is concerned, a bigger story with troops here at home. And I'm not normally one to chase headlines, but I have to say that I think that there's a deeper meaning to this whole National Guard controversy than the rest of the media is covering. It's something a little deeper than what it appears, which is that the National Guard from a bunch of these states who are working in the Capitol for this ridiculous show of force to make the United States government look strong and powerful by having this big, military presence in the Capitol around the inauguration. They were tossed aside as soon as the ceremony was over. They were told that they no longer are allowed to sleep on the floor in the Capitol, which again was not a very nice place to sleep to begin with. So they were instead told to sleep outside in the parking garage, where they had one or two portalets for like 500 soldiers in this one group. And while this is probably an example of government incompetence and poor middle management, some bureaucrat forgetting to fill out the wrong form extending their right to stay in the Capitol, it nevertheless looks bad. And it looks bad in a way that delegitimizes the regime. Remember, just a couple of days ago, CNN hosts like Chris Cuomo were saying that a lot of these troops couldn't be trusted. The FBI was digging into their pasts and looking through their social media, pulling guys out of the crowd who might be closeted Trump supporters. People who were members of the NRA or had a Gadsden flag or a Confederate flag or anything that looked remotely right-wing, which, when you're talking about the National Guard, I would think about 70% of them are going to be right-wing to some extent. This just adds insult to injury. I think that a lot of these guys, understandably, at least the ones speaking to the press, are quite disgusted with the federal government, have little interest in serving this president or this Congress. And it's apparently so egregious in the minds of the public that the governors of Texas, Florida, New Hampshire, maybe other states, have already recalled their National Guardsmen, said that they will not allow them to be treated this way by Washington. And, this to me is of particular interest. It's not just an anecdote about how, some National Guardsmen were disrespected by the D.C. elite. That, to me, is not where this ends. There's a broader context here, and that is the growing separation or the growing division in the United States. To me, the impending breakup of the Union. And that's something that I've been chronicling on this channel for quite some time. And when you look at this in that context, what you see here are, state soldiers, essentially, people who work for the governors, not for the president, being mistreated by the federal regime, while their honor is being defended by their governors. The net effect of this entire scandal is that for a good chunk of these men, they're going to become more loyal to their governor and to their state government, and less loyal to the federal government. This, to me, is essential if the idea of secession is ever going to become a reality. As we saw in the case of Yugoslavia, they had a similar situation where they had a federal Yugoslav army, but there was also these, each republic within the Yugoslavia had its own, what essentially would be called a National Guard. I'm not sure what they actually called it, but it was a similar situation. And when each of the presidents of the various Yugoslav republics declared independence and seceded from Yugoslavia, they had to rely on those troops to back them. Otherwise, those troops could have joined forces with the federal army and just said, you know what? No, we're not going to let you leave. In fact, Slovenia had its own Fort Sumter, in which the Slovene troops attacked a federal base and wanted those guys out of there. It actually was kind of sad. They were, very aggressive, and were not just ordering these guys to leave. I mean, they were, the guys there were in a tough position. They clearly didn't want to be there. They even caught one of them who, very quickly surrendered and was crying his eyes out because he didn't want to die for something that was stupid that he didn't believe in. And there was a helicopter supplying food to the base that they shot down, which they thought it was carrying weapons. At least that's what they said. It was a very sad situation. But the bottom line is that those guys were very, very reticent to support their president against, their secessionist president against the old federation. And something tells me that if there are more situations like what we witnessed today, where the National Guardsmen are insulted by the feds and respected by the states, then they are going to become increasingly loyal to the states, to the point to where if there is a breakdown in relations between any given state and the federal government, the National Guard can be trusted to act, as the seceding states' new army, which is an important. It's important not in the sense that these states are going to go to a war with the federal government, because that would be horrible. Nobody wants that. But in terms of establishing legitimacy of the seceding state, just like Joe Biden did this time, where he had all these military guys all around him, made him look very official. The same thing would be true if if let's say Texas is, signing their Declaration of Independence and they're surrounded by the Texas National Guard. So while it sucks for these guys, and I would hate to be in their position, I mean, it's something nice to be told you have to sleep in a parking lot or in a parking garage, and you have to share a bathroom with 500 other guys. At least this has the side effect of red pilling some of these guys, who, to be fair, the guys who sign up for the National Guard, to me, the National Guard is the most defensible, the most admirable branch of the U.S. military, because the National Guard's express purpose is to actually protect the country from invasion. That's what they're there for. These other guys who sign up for the Marine Corps and the Army and the Navy, they're going off to do things overseas. And don't get me wrong, the National Guard is told to do things overseas too, to supplement that. But I mean, that's not their express purpose. The National Guard is an outgrowth of the old state militias, which again, that's the only military that the U.S. should have. And so if any real movement against the federal government is going to gain steam, I think that it's pretty important that, the guys who occupy that space, the modern day state militiamen are on the side of, or are against the federal government too. So that's what I took out of this whole situation. Is it a nice thing to happen to these guys? No. Is it the worst thing ever? Did anybody die? No. I mean, it's not like that. It's not like a tragedy or anything. But it's not a nice thing. It wasn't a nice gesture, sure. But it could have some positive outcomes. And so with that said, if you get anything of value out of this video, I'd appreciate you clicking that like button and sharing this video. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe, because I do upload every day, and I'd hate to have you miss one. So I'll see you folks back here tomorrow.